Sand, silence, a wind that offers no comfort. The sun sinks behind the dunes and the heat of the day begins to peel away from the rock like an exhausted breath. The desert surface, which for hours reached 60 degrees Celsius, slowly surrenders to the descent of night. And in that precise instant, when the light turns copper and the shadows stretch until they vanish, something awakens beneath a flat stone in the Negev. A pincer. Another pincer. A tail curved toward the sky like a yellow question mark. Here, in the arid deserts of North Africa and the Middle East, where life seems impossible and water is a memory, dwells a creature the size of a human finger that carries within its body a dose of death, capable of stopping a heart in less than 7 hours. It is not the lion, it is not the cobra, it is not the crocodile, but its venom, drop by drop, is worth more than gold, more than platinum, more than any substance known to the hand of man. But who truly rules the nights of the desert? Welcome to the kingdom of the deathstalker scorpion, Leiurus quinquestriatus, the assassin of the sand, where light betrays, stone conceals, and size never dictates power. Before we venture into this territory of extreme heat and ancient venom, leave your like if you love wild nature, subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming journeys, and tell us in the comments, what would you fear more? Encountering a lion in the savannah or a deathstalker scorpion inside your shoe? And now, without further delay, let us begin. The Sahara Desert, the Negev, the sands of Sudan, the lost oases of Arabia, an immense strip of land that stretches from the Atlantic to the Persian Gulf, crossed by temperatures that pulverize the logic of life. By day, the ground burns hot enough to cook an egg in minutes. By night, the thermometer can fall low enough to freeze the breath. The annual rainfall in many places does not exceed 100 millimeters. Water, when it comes, arrives in the form of brief, violent, almost mythical storms. And yet, in this kingdom of extremes, one of the most sophisticated and silent food chains on the planet thrives. A chain in which the most feared hunter measures no more than 11 centimeters in length. Its scientific name is Leiurus quinquestriatus. Its Latin surname means 5 stripes, a reference to the longitudinal markings that run across the upper part of its mesosoma. But in the Bedouin villages of the desert, it is known by a much older and far more fitting name, Deathstalker, the one who walks with death. It belongs to the family Buthidae, the largest and most dangerous group of scorpions on the planet. And among its 1,500 sister species, none has conquered as much territory in human fear as this one. One pincer emerges first, then the other. The tail, segmented into 5 yellowish metasomas, rises above the body like a banner. And then, the entire body of the Leiurus slides out of its daytime refuge with an elegance that is not learned. It is inherited. It measures between 8 and 11 centimeters in total length. It weighs barely 2.5 grams. Its pincers, surprisingly thin and delicate, are not its primary weapon. Unlike other more robust scorpions which crush their prey with powerful chili, the Deathstalker has wagered everything on a single evolutionary resource: venom. And what venom? In its telsin, that final bulbous capsule before the stinger, it stores a mixture of neurotoxins so refined that modern science has spent decades trying to unravel it. It contains, among other compounds, chlorotoxin, a molecule capable of selectively binding to cancerous cells in the human brain. It contains chlorotoxin, which blocks certain potassium channels. It contains agitoxin. It contains a cocktail of peptides that simultaneously attack the central nervous system, the heart, and the lungs. A single drop of this fluid extracted with a micropipette in specialized laboratories can be worth up to $39 million per gallon. There is no animal substance more expensive on the face of the earth. But the scorpion does not know this. To him, that fluid is simply dinner, and occasionally defense. The night advances. The moon, still low, casts a milky light over the dunes. The Leiurus moves with short steps pressed against the ground, sensing every vibration through the sensory hairs on its legs. It has poor eyesight. Its eyes, arranged in clusters across its carapace, can barely distinguish light from shadow. But it does not need to see. The desert speaks to it through the trembling of the sand. A beetle moves 30 centimeters away. The scorpion stops, waits, calculates. Meanwhile, several meters away, a female of its same species patrols another stretch of territory. Females are slightly larger, heavier, and carry within their telsons an even more concentrated dose of venom. After mating, which occurs in a ritualized dance known as the promenade à deux, the male withdraws carefully. He does not always succeed. In many Buthidae species, post-nuptial cannibalism is a documented reality. But tonight there is no courtship. Tonight there is hunger. The beetle takes one more step. One step too many. The strike of the Leiurus is a thing difficult for human eyes to follow. The tail, which until that instant had rested in its arch, fires forward in a fraction of a second. The stinger pierces the beetle's exoskeleton. The neurotoxins empty into its hemolymph. In less than 3 seconds, the insect ceases to move. The scorpion does not devour it whole. It carries the prey to a safe crevice, holds it with its pincers, and begins to inject digestive enzymes through its mouthparts. The prey liquefies from within. The predator drinks it slowly, like one who sips an ancient soup. This is the mechanics of the desert. Raw, efficient, without waste. But the true secret of the Leiurus has not yet been revealed. For decades, herpetologists and entomologists wondered how it was possible for a creature so small, so vulnerable to heat, to survive in conditions where other arthropods perish in hours. The answer arrived with studies of ultraviolet fluorescence. Under black light, the deathstalker scorpion glows. This is not metaphor. It is chemistry. Its exoskeleton contains compounds called beta-carbolins and 4-methyl-7-hydroxycoumarin, which absorb ultraviolet radiation and re-emit it as a blue-green light. Why? The most accepted hypothesis suggests that the entire cuticle functions as one large eye. It detects moonlight and starlight, and allows the scorpion to know when it is safe to leave its refuge without ever having to lift its gaze. The desert does not yield its secrets easily, but sometimes when the right light falls upon the right stone, it yields them whole. The night deepens, and with it, the risk grows, because the deathstalker scorpion, despite its venom, does not stand at the top of the chain. Above it fly the desert owls, especially the pharaoh eagle owl, Bubo ascalaphus, capable of detecting the glow of the Leiurus, with eyes adapted to low light. It is also hunted by southern meerkats, desert hedgehogs, certain blind snakes, and even by larger scorpions of the Scorpionidae family. Its venom does not always save it. The evolution of its predators has produced partial resistance in several species. A desert hedgehog can receive several consecutive stings and continue eating the scorpion without pausing. It is one of the great paradoxes of the Negev. The most venomous animal of the arid world is also the supper of a mammal the size of an apple. The sun falls, and with the darkness, other hunters awaken. But there comes a moment around 3 or 4 in the morning when the entire desert seems to halt. The wind subsides. The aerial predators return to their nests. The temperature reaches its lowest point, and the Leiurus, now sated, begins the slow return toward its daytime refuge. Beneath the flat stone in a small chamber dug by its own pincers, the scorpion settles. It partially closes the entrance with sand. It nearly halts its metabolism altogether. In this posture, it can survive up to 12 months without eating if conditions demand it. Its oxygen consumption is among the lowest ever recorded among arthropods. It is in many ways a creature that has learned how not to exist when existing becomes too costly. And yet, its presence defines the desert. Each year, thousands of people in North Africa and the Middle East are stung by the deathstalker scorpion. Most survive, especially with modern anti-venom treatment. But small children, the elderly, and those who live far from urban hospitals face a real risk. The sting begins with a sharp pain at the site, followed by sweating, tachycardia, vomiting, pulmonary edema, and in the most severe cases, cardiac arrest. And at the same time, that same venom is revolutionizing the medicine of the 21st century. Chlorotoxin marked with fluorescent dye is now injected into patients with brain tumors to illuminate malignant cells during surgery. What kills also illuminates. What wounds also heals. This is the ancient logic of the desert, finally translated into the language of science. Dawn begins to suggest itself on the horizon. The light tints the dunes an impossible pink. The scorpion, already invisible beneath its stone, dreams, if scorpions dream, of the next night, of the next hunt, of the next opportunity to be, for a few more hours, the discreet king of a kingdom that has not changed in more than 400 million years. Because that is, in the end, what the Leiurus quinquestriatus truly is. Not a monster, not a legend, but a survivor. A lineage that watched the dinosaurs rise and fall. A tiny body that carries in its yellow tail one of the most valuable and most feared molecules on the planet. We return then to the question of the beginning. Who truly rules the nights of the desert? Not the lion who roars in the savannah, not the cobra who reigns in the jungle, not even the human being who crosses these lands with caravans and engines. What rules is what cannot be seen, what waits beneath the stone, what glows in the dark when no eye is watching. What rules is the deathstalker, silent owner of an empire of sand, heat, and venom. And as the morning advances over the Negev, a pincer withdraws slowly into the shadow. The stone falls quiet again. The desert, once more, seems empty. But it is not. It never has been.